You wake up. The power's out. The streets are silent. No cars, no voices, no planes overhead. You check your phone. Dead. You look outside. Abandoned. Somehow, you slept through the apocalypse, and now you're alone in a dead world. No, you're not the main character. You're about to become a statistic in the worst speedrun of your life. Welcome to Outbreak Files. Today, we're walking through exactly what happens if you wake up after the apocalypse has already happened. Not the fantasy version where you're instantly a badass survivor. The real version, where every decision matters, every mistake compounds, and the clock is ticking on resources you don't have. Let's start at the beginning, when you open your eyes and realize the world ended without you. Hours 0 to 6, the confusion phase. You wake up. Something's wrong, but you're not sure what. The silence is the first clue. No ambient noise, no traffic, no neighbor's TV through the wall. You check your phone. Dead. You plug it in. No power. You try the lights. Nothing. Okay, power outage. Not great, but not apocalyptic. You go to the window. The street is empty. Not early morning quiet. Empty. Wrong empty. Abandoned cars. Some with doors open. No people. Anywhere. Here's your first critical decision. Do you go outside immediately to investigate, or do you stay inside and assess? Most people go outside. This is a mistake. You don't know what happened yet. You don't know if it's biological, chemical, radiological, or something else. You don't know if the threat is still active. Going outside immediately exposes you to unknown dangers before you've gathered any information. The smart move, stay inside for at least an hour. Check every tap in your apartment. If water is still running, fill every container you have. Bathtub, sinks, pots, bottles, everything. This is your most critical resource, and it won't last. You've got maybe 6 to 12 hours before municipal water pressure drops to nothing. Check your food supplies. Not what you wish you had, what you actually have right now. Be honest. Most people have maybe 3 to 5 days of food if they ration carefully. Some have less. Very few have more. Check your information sources. Battery-powered radio if you have one. Car radio if you have a car. Older cars without electronic fuel injection might still work. You need to understand what happened, and you need to do it before you make any moves. Your survival odds at this point, 60%, because you haven't made any fatal mistakes yet, but the clock is already ticking on resources. Hour 6 to 24, the assessment phase. You've been inside for a few hours. You've filled water containers. You've inventoried food. You've tried every information source you have. Nothing. No radio signals, no emergency broadcasts, just static or silence. Here's what you're starting to understand. This isn't temporary. Power grids don't fail globally without coming back on unless something catastrophic happened. The complete absence of people, of vehicles, of any sign of life. This isn't a local evacuation. This is collapse. Second critical decision. Do you stay in your home, or do you leave immediately to find other survivors or better resources? Most people leave. This is probably a mistake. Your home, even your apartment, has advantages. It's familiar territory. It has some supplies. It has shelter. You know the area. Leaving means exposing yourself to unknown threats while abandoning the resources you do have. But here's the problem with staying. You're in a city or suburb, which means you're in a high-density area where resources are finite, and competition will be fierce if there are other survivors. You need to make a judgment call based on what you can see. If you're seeing bodies, signs of violence, or evidence of biological threat, maybe you need to leave. If you're just seeing abandonment, empty streets, no signs of struggle, staying might be viable short-term. Third critical decision. Inventory your actual useful supplies versus useless stuff. You don't need your TV. You don't need your laptop. You need water containers, food, first aid supplies, tools, warm clothing, sturdy shoes, bags to carry things, and anything that helps you procure more resources. Most people in modern apartments are shockingly unprepared. You probably don't have water purification tablets or a proper filter, more than a few days of non-perishable food, a proper first aid kit beyond band-aids, tools beyond maybe a screwdriver, any kind of weapon or self-defense option, warm durable clothing suitable for outdoor survival, camping gear or outdoor survival equipment. This is the reality check moment. You're not equipped for this at all. Your survival odds, 50% because you're starting to understand the situation, but you're also realizing how unprepared you are. Day 1 to 3, the scavenging phase. You've been in your apartment for 24 hours. Your water containers are full for now. but you know that supply is finite. Your food situation is already concerning. You need to make a move. Here's the brutal reality. If you woke up after the apocalypse already happened, you're late to the scavenging game. If this was a zombie outbreak, riots, EMP, or any other sudden collapse, the initial wave of survivors already looted the obvious targets. Grocery stores, stripped. Pharmacies, empty. Gas stations, cleaned out. You're not scavenging from full shelves. You're scavenging from the leftovers that the first wave didn't take or didn't think of. Fourth critical decision. Where do you scavenge first? Most people head to grocery stores or big box retailers. This is a mistake. Those places were hit first and hardest. You'll find empty shelves, maybe some violence, and very little worth the risk of exposure. Smarter targets. Homes in your immediate area. Most people evacuated or died with supplies still inside. Residential scavenging is less obvious and often more fruitful. Small convenience stores off main roads. Less traffic. More likely to have missed inventory. Vending machines. People forget about these, but they contain non-perishable food and are relatively easy to access if you have tools. Office buildings, break rooms have snacks, coffee, sometimes fridges with food. Not enough to live on, but something. Warehouses or storage facilities. These are often overlooked in initial panic looting. But here's your biggest problem. You're doing this alone. Scavenging solo means no one watching your back. Can only carry what you can physically move. Every risk is 100% on you. No one to help if you get injured or trapped, and you're making noise, breaking into buildings, moving through streets. If there are other survivors, hostile ones, you're announcing your presence. If there are threats, infected, wildlife, whatever caused this, you're exposed. Your survival odds, 35% because you're taking necessary risks, but doing it from a position of weakness and isolation. Day 3 to 7, the reality phase. You've been surviving for 3 days. You've scavenged what you could. You've got maybe a week of food if you ration hard. Your water situation is manageable. You've been boiling everything, which is smart, but you're running out of fuel. Here's what's becoming clear. This isn't temporary. There's no rescue coming, no government response. You're in a permanent post-collapse environment, and your apartment is becoming less viable by the day. Fifth critical decision. Stay static or relocate to somewhere more sustainable. Staying has advantages. You know the area, you've got shelter, but cities have fatal long-term problems. No renewable resources, contaminated water, eventual sanitation nightmares. And if there are other survivors, competition for dwindling resources turns violent fast. If you move, where do you go? Most people think head for the country, without understanding that rural survival requires skills they don't have. You don't know how to hunt, fish, garden, or identify edible plants. You're just trading one death sentence for another. But here's your real problem. You're alone, and humans aren't built for isolation. By day 5, you're feeling it. The silence is oppressive. You talk out loud just to hear a voice. You're making decisions more slowly. You're taking on 100% of every task. Water procurement, food prep, security, maintenance, with no one to share the load. Sleep is becoming a crisis. You can't truly rest because there's no one to keep watch. Every sound wakes you. You're operating on broken sleep cycles, which means your cognitive function is declining. You're making mistakes, leaving supplies out, forgetting to secure doors, missing obvious dangers. Sixth critical decision. Search for other survivors or stay hidden. Most people desperately want to find others. Isolation is psychological torture, but other survivors are dangerous. Maybe more dangerous than whatever caused the apocalypse. By day 7, anyone still alive is operating under extreme stress. Resources are scarce. Trust is dead. You don't know if the person you meet will help you or kill you for your supplies. You don't know if isolation has broken them. If you find survivors, you're starting from zero trust. You have to prove you're useful without revealing how well supplied you are. They have to prove they're not a threat without seeming weak. It's a negotiation where both parties are armed, paranoid, and one mistake means violence. Your survival odds, 20% because you're now dealing with resource depletion, psychological strain, and the impossible choice between isolation and the risks of human contact. Week 2 to 4, the decline phase. You're 2 weeks in. You've survived longer than most, but you're not thriving. You're declining. Your food is critically low. Scavenging produces less each time. You're spending more calories searching than you're finding. You're losing weight. Your strength is decreasing. Your immune system is compromised. Water situation is worse. Municipal systems have been dead for 2 weeks. You're relying on rivers, ponds, rain collection, but you're not sure how safe any of it is, even after boiling. You're dealing with intermittent diarrhea, which dehydrates you faster than you can replace fluids. Hygiene has collapsed. You haven't showered in 2 weeks. Your clothes are filthy. You have cuts that aren't healing properly because your nutrition is inadequate. One cut is showing signs of infection, redness, warmth, pain. You don't have antibiotics. This could kill you in a week if it goes septic. Here's what nobody tells you. It's not the dramatic moments that kill you. It's the grinding accumulation of small problems. The cut that gets infected, the water that makes you sick, the malnutrition that weakens you just enough, the sleep deprivation that makes you careless. 7th critical decision. Continue solo or take bigger risks to find survivors. By week 3, isolation is breaking you. You're having conversations with yourself. You're seeing movement that isn't there. Your decision-making is impaired. You need help, but finding help might be what kills you. If you find a group, you're joining from weakness. You're malnourished, potentially sick, with dwindling supplies. What value do you offer? You're not strong. You're not skilled. You're just another mouth to feed. And if they take you in, you're the outsider, the one nobody trusts. You get the worst tasks. You eat last. You're expendable if hard decisions need to be made. That's if they're decent. If they're not, you might be robbed and left for dead. Your survival odds, 10% because you're physically declining, psychologically strained, and running out of time and options. Month 2 to 3, the end game. You're still alive at month 2. This puts you in an elite minority. But alive is a technical term at this point. You're chronically malnourished. You've lost 25 to 30 pounds, most of it muscle. You're weak. Your immune system is failing. That infection, it's worse. You're feverish. You need antibiotics, but have no idea where to find them. Your mental state is fractured. You talk to yourself constantly. You've named objects. You have full conversations with people who aren't there. You know this is happening, and you can't stop it. Isolation has broken something fundamental. 8th critical decision. Stay in your increasingly dangerous location, or make a desperate attempt to reach somewhere sustainable. By month 2, cities are uninhabitable. Sanitation has collapsed. Disease is spreading. Bodies are rotting. Water sources are contaminated. Staying means dying slowly. But leaving means a journey you're not physically capable of anymore. You're weak. You're sick. You can barely carry supplies. A trip that would have taken 2 days now might take a week, and you don't have a week's worth of supplies. Here's the reality. If you're solo at month 2, you're already dead. You just haven't stopped moving yet. Your body is failing. Your mind is broken. You have no support system. No one to help when you collapse. The survivors at month 3 aren't lone wolves. They're the ones who found groups early, who had skills to contribute, who got lucky. The solo survivor who woke up late, they're a corpse with a timeline. Your survival odds, 3%, and that's generous. Most people in your situation are already dead. The few who aren't are running on fumes and borrowed time. Here's the truth about waking up after the apocalypse. You're not the protagonist. You're the warning label the universe slaps on anyone who thinks survival is about toughness instead of timing. You missed the evacuation. You missed the supply grab. You missed the one brief window when groups were still forming and taking in stragglers. You woke up late to a world that's already been picked clean, and now you're playing catch-up in a game where second place isn't losing, it's dying. The lone wolf fantasy is exactly that, a fantasy. Humans survive as tribes, not as wandering protagonists. Groups endure. Solo survivors become statistics. And if you're waking up solo after everyone else is gone, you're starting from the worst possible position with the worst possible odds. Could you make it? Maybe. If you're lucky, skilled, and make perfect decisions under extreme stress while starving and sleep deprived. But most people aren't. Most people make it 2 weeks before something, infection, injury, starvation, or just giving up, finishes them. You just learned that waking up late is practically a pre-written obituary. So here's your question. What kills you first? The infection from that cut, the contaminated water, or just the loneliness breaking your mind? Drop your answer below. Then subscribe. Because if you thought being late to the apocalypse was bad, Wait until you see what happens to the people who were on time. The apocalypse doesn't pause while you get your bearings.